Hi, it's Joyce Hopewell here. Welcome to my Astro Chat channel. I'm going to be saying something about Mars in this short talk. Mars is a cardinal planet and it's very much to do with our assertiveness and our drive, and it can get us into all sorts of troubles if that takes over, because on its sort of worst side it's more to do with aggression and being really bolshy with people. On its better side it's more about standing up for ourselves and asserting ourselves. It can be the worst possible behaviour, taking it to the furthest extreme that we see in wars, when war crimes are committed perhaps, and people are very much into a combat situation. But then again, using war as an analogy, it can be on its highest level courage and bravery, and going into a new situation with leadership qualities. And of course Mars is also to do with skill. But let's just stick for a minute about being assertive, because I've got a story to tell you about my own Mars, personal experience this is. And in my chart, Mars is not particularly well positioned in the sign that it's in. It's weakly positioned by sign, and also it's weak in the house position that it's in. So when I try and express it out in the world, I have been known to make a mess of it, come a cropper, have plenty of lessons to take away from the situation. And one which I'm going to tell you about today is, many years ago I was going on a walk up the mountain Snowdon in North Wales, and I thought I'd better have some waterproof clothing to take with me and wear. And I went and bought some in an outdoor gear shop, and I was assured by what it said on the label that this was waterproof clothing. So come the next day when I went on this walk up Snowdon, it was pouring with rain, and after a while the rain started getting through the seams of this so-called waterproof clothing, and the weather was so bad the cloud came down, had to turn back because it wasn't safe to go onto the summit. But of course when I got back I was very wet and I wasn't very pleased. So that happened over a weekend. On the Monday morning I went back to the shop that had sold me the waterproof cagoule and the over-trousers, and asked to see the manager. Nobody was around, nobody could help me. I demanded to see the manager. I was really bringing out my Mars. I was trying to get very, very assertive. And at one stage I even found myself banging on the counter demanding my money back. But there was nobody in authority there to give me a refund. So I had to go away with my tail between my legs, thinking, I didn't do very well there with my Mars. Go back the next day when I did get my money back. But that taught me a really important lesson about Mars and how to use it. So it's very much to do with becoming aware of how we're using this ability in ourselves to assert ourselves and stand up for ourselves. Are we coming over loud and shouty and making a big, big fuss that nobody really wants to take any notice of? Or can we be quietly assertive from within and really get our message across? Well, a lot of water's flowed under the bridge since that experience, and hopefully I have learned to use my Mars more effectively now and more assertively without thumping tables and getting really angry. But I think there's a lesson in there for us all to be aware of how we're using a planet, particularly Mars, which is the drive to assert ourselves in our everyday lives. And of course Mars is also associated with a sense of smell, and that can actually be a kind of survival tactic as well. You know, you smell something's not quite right, you smell a rat, something smells a bit fishy. And of course Mars is associated with the adrenal glands and the production of adrenaline. So when we are using Mars, we're into a fight or flight situation, because it's very much to do with our personal survival. I do talk about Mars and things you can do to understand it better in my book, The Living Birth Chart, and there are some exercises there. So if you'd like to get a copy of that, that will probably set you on the right path. But just as a suggestion to close with, you could go around your house and your environment and collect, say, 7 different objects which represent Mars for you, just to bring Mars to life and help yourself understand how the birth chart can be a living birth chart. Bye bye for now. Hope to see you again.